And happy Monday to you here in the Energy Medicine Hub. And you may not realize, but today I'm actually in the room that is normally behind me on a green screen. So we're really live upon live today. And it's Mindful Mondays normally in the hub, and I've become mindful recently that in the excitement of giving all these little demonstrations and interacting with you at a more personal level, I've kind of lost track of my mindful mission for starting the hub and for sharing some of the techniques that I know with you. So the first thing I'm going to do today is mindfully introduce you to the tool that I use during these balancing sessions. And so this fellow here is a Lecher Antenna. And it's a very straightforward tool, but also a very valuable tool. I don't know if you remember in the old days of radio transmission when we used to have to turn a dial on the dashboard of the car. We would see a little cursor move, and when we hit the station the music would come through. So that there was a Lecher antenna behind the dashboard in those vehicles, and it was similar with television sets and with radio receivers, particularly used by the forces during the First and Second World Wars to transmit information across great distances. Then the sender had to be sending on one bandwidth, and the receiver had to be set on the same bandwidth for that signal to be picked up and therefore able to be heard and interpreted. So the body also releases signals, and we can interpret them if we know the language of the antenna being the numbers. And so the Lecher antenna is the basic tool, but it's part of a much greater system, and the system which I teach and use is the Acmos Method, and it was developed by a French engineer, and he applied his engineering principles to the human body, and he also learned energy medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and microbiology. He had to PhD level in each of those, and so he was a really go-getting guy back in the 60s and 70s when nobody much was talking about energy, but where some of the pioneers were starting to work with energetics. And so this tool entered the Acmos method a bit later on. Dr. Nakashian actually used an electronic biofeedback unit, basically a resistance meter or ohm meter, to measure the circuits of the human body. But when this piece of kit entered the Acmos method, it took on a whole new ability to work at distance, to transfer information across spaces. And that's what has enabled me to give you these demonstrations on our Tune-Up Tuesdays. So just looking at the numbers on the antenna, let's look today at number 8. So 8 is the resonance of the earth. It is calming, soothing, yin in nature, and therefore when we enter a mindful state, we are connecting with that force, with that earthiness, that nurturing, that calming, soothing force that calms the speed of the cosmic force which enters our bodies and slows it down from the very fast electric brain to the metabolic rate being set by our thyroid gland, to the thymus gland regulating our immune system functions, which we do not want to be working as quickly as the brain is, to the pancreas in the abdominal area regulating the upper abdominal area and the digestive functions, and then the gonads regulating the lower abdominal area. An exception to the rule, the adrenal glands sat on top of the kidneys, round the back, below the diaphragm, and they sort of have to adjust to the level of stress in our environment. And so they go with the base energy centre, or with the 8. When our sense of peace, mindfulness, and ability to be in the moment becomes dysregulated by a challenge in an environment, what's happening there, what's going on, our adrenals have to kick in to give us that energy and that ability to react. And so we react to stressors, and that adjusts our connection with the earth to the correct amount so that we can react. Because if we're in too relaxed a state, then we're not going to be able to get out of the way of the bus coming down the road towards us, or away from the school bully charging across the playground and sort of in our face. So we don't want to be relaxed in that nice earthy state all the time, but we do want to be able to reset to that state when the stress has passed. And in the modern lifestyle, where the world is full of media, full of news, most of the news is bad news, then there's a tendency for us to become upregulated, to lose our ability to connect with the earth. And we have to make an effort to remind ourselves to practice mindfulness and to bring ourselves back into that earthy state. So I wanted to share with you my mission. This is what comes from my core. It comes from my wish to share what I have learned from Dr. Nikashian himself in particular, but from other experts in the fields of energy medicine. And I wrote a mission statement, and I'd like to share that with you. So I want to share with you the fact that I'm really passionately driven. I want to light a flame in the heart of you, the professionals in the Energy Medicine Hub, but also through you for that effect to ripple out to 10,000 health professionals around the world. If we can share this work, particularly in this time of post-COVID fatigue and long-term, lasting, inexplicable symptoms, then we're doing a great job. So we want to share with thousands of professionals, but we have to start with a few. We don't have the capacity to train thousands and thousands of people at one time. And so you guys are the trailblazers. You're in here first. And I'm going to be launching a training in just the basics of using the antenna. It'll be a new training. It'll follow the new revised version of the Lecher Antenna booklet that I wrote during the lockdown period, and expanded from, I think, about 16 pages to 60. So a bit more information in there, lots of practical tips and exercises, because once you get the hang of using one of these in your therapy business, then you'll no longer rely on just working things out from your intellect, from your knowledge base. You'll also start to rely on the wisdom of the knowledge of your patient's energy body. What does it want from the therapy? What does it need to resolve its blocks and to help itself heal? So therapists who are ready to share with me the bioenergetic synergy techniques. So techniques that build up resonance in the body, they build up resonance health and well-being, using physics, using resonance with natural healing products, bringing the body back in tune, or recalibrating its fuses and its stuck points. And we do that through the Chinese medicine system. We use the acupuncture system, but we use remedies as well, not by taking them necessarily, but by transferring the information. And that is where this tool really comes into its own, an instantaneous transfer of information into an acupuncture point. It's very quick, it's very effective, and it's very long lasting. So I just wanted to give you a taster of what we're trying to do here, and hope to bring you on the journey with me as we start to introduce you to additional tools so that you can build on the use. But really the basic one, in order to embrace particularly the Acmos method, but also other resonance-based techniques, things such as assessing supplements, such as dosing supplements. If they're over-the-counter supplements, we can start to help people to choose how often to take things, what time to take them, when is the best time of day. When we know the Chinese medicine clock, body clock, the circadian rhythms, then we start to learn information from that time of day means that we're supporting a particular organ. So which organ needs that support? And we start to build up a picture of health in our clients and to become outstanding practitioners in our areas and in our own fields. So it's either a standalone therapy. A lot of people do work with Acmos alone, but a lot of people also add it on to their skill set that they already have. So as an example, my background is in physical therapy. Your background may be in osteopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapy, but you already have a knowledge of anatomy, physiology, how the body works. You'll have a knowledge of neurology and how the mind-body works together. So now we're bringing in that extra component, how the energy body works with the mind, with the physical body, with the yin energy, the yang energy. Energy is moving all the time. And so where does that fit into the picture of health? And that's where Acmos is quite unique, in that it gives you a different perspective, a lovely way to look at things, and something which will literally change the way that you perceive the world. Start to see patterns where you may never have seen patterns before. So mindfully, just allowing that to come home and rest with you in your heart. If it resonates, then get in touch. Ask your questions below. Let us know that you're interested to know more. And look back at some of the Tune-Up Tuesdays, because then you will see how much we can actually achieve with one of these very simple tools. So we use the 8 for the earth today to bring us into that more mindful state. And then I talk a lot in the hub about connection, how important it is, the interconnection between people. And so when we put up the antenna up onto 1.1, near the very tip of the antenna, then we have that real connection, the connection with source, the connection with all that is. And we make that connection through our earth connection. The stronger we are earth, and the more we are able to sustain and collect our energy, the more deeply we are able to connect with source and with all that is, and the stronger we feel within our communities. And as therapists and healers, we are leaders within our community, and we draw people towards us. We draw the people that we can help to our practice. So bringing that heart center to our practice in a different way. Have a great rest of your Monday, and just sitting for a moment and allowing that information to sit with you.